and it's this week in Disney for October 18th through the 24th.
She trusted me enough to come back, and you can trust me too.
Well, I hope so. But this week is a fun week. I'm really excited about the things going on this week, and you know, to start off, we're actually going to go back to 1967, and it's gonna be a titch emotional. I think it's a little emotional, but anyway, in 1967, Disney's 19th animated feature film, The Jungle Book, has its general release. Yes. And this is, of course, Rudyard Kipling's, based off his book.
Yes.
And it is animated and supervised by Walt Disney himself, who actually passed away before it was released, because he, you know, passed away December 1966, and this was released in October of 67.
Yeah.
So, but as we're going to discuss in as we talk about the film, Walt had a huge hand in this film, and which is really interesting because he had kind of not
for a while.
And
he took charge.
And so,
well, creative influence.
Yeah, hugely.
Structurally.
Absolutely. I think he really fell in love with what this film was going to be, and it was really highly successful. So as we talk about the changes that he made and the things that he did, you know, being the last film he was, you know, really highly involved in, I think it was just the right thing.
I don't know if you're going to touch upon this, but this book, beloved. I mean, for myself, you know, it is the source material for Baden-Powell and a lot of the scouting program.
Right.
And very strong in Cub Scouts in America. So very much ingrained in, you know, the culture of Americana, as well as being a fabulous coming-of-age book and discovering the world. So, and he saw that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you go through the Cub Scout and Boy Scout books, there's
the early works of Baden-Powell.
In particular, there's
Akela and
Weeblos and
well, they use the actual names of the animals.
And they also didn't they use the motto, one of the mottos?
Indeed.
Yeah. So anyway, or he did, Baden-Powell. So yes. It's a beloved book in our family, for sure. But just talking about this film, let's talk about first, it was directed by Wolfgang Reitherman. And so he did lots of films. He's a great director. The film features, they did some really cool voices, which you know from watching, I'm sure if you're like us, you've seen this film many, many times, but you had Phil Harris as Baloo, Sebastian Cabot as Bagheera. Phil Harris was at Disneyland, and that's when Walt heard his voice and wanted him to be Baloo. And then, like I said, Bagheera, then Louie Prima as King Louie. That's an iconic voice. And then George Sanders as Shere Khan. Sterling Holloway, we've talked about him before. He's the voice of Kaa, the snake, and Bruce Reitherman. So Bruce Reitherman is actually Wolfgang Reitherman's son. He had done the voice of Christopher Robin. They had a different Mowgli at the time, Clint Howard, but his voice changed during production, so they had to go with a younger sounding voice, so they went with Bruce Reitherman. And then the song Bare Necessities, written by Terry Gilkyson, will be nominated for the 45th Academy Awards. So of course, it's so good, right?
You know, and just speaking of Baloo, so iconic, so much a part of that film, our son Madison was
Yeah.
Baloo in a youth stage production
Right.
of The Jungle Book, and that was so wonderful. So Baloo, very special in our home. And not to talk about the remake, at least at this time, but Bill Murray being Baloo. I mean, big
Yeah.
shoes to fill, and it took quite a big personality to convince us for the live action. So
Well, our
memorable.
favorite Baloo is Madison.
Indeed.
Of course.
But Mr.
So-
Murray, thank you.
But I mean, going back to the original Baloo, like that voice was iconic for the time as well, and just really, you know,
Oh, yes.
really good. So, you know, just talking about the production of the film, Bill Pete actually was, you know, heading up the production. He had worked on and done Sword in the Stone. Unfortunately, that had not done as well. He also did 101 Dalmatians, which was really successful, but you know, Walt came in and was concerned that this was going to be too dark, and was concerned at the direction that Bill Pete was taking it. So he got really involved with Bill Pete.
And if you see a lot of the
And,
early artwork, concept art, you can see where his concerns lied.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it's not rich and wonderful, but...
So like even Roy E. Disney said in regards to the Jungle Book that Walt, with the Jungle Book, he obviously got hooked on the jungle and the characters that lived there, and he certainly influenced everything about it. So just really important to remember that. But you know, Walt started getting closely involved with Bill Pete, and he wasn't happy with the timing of the story. It was just really dark. He was going with the book and sticking to the novel. If you've read the book, it's a lot more dark than the Disney film. Walt didn't want to take it in that direction. He wanted it to be light and fun and different than the book. And so, you know, Bill
At one point, there's a myth he even wanted to have the Beatles in it.
Well, we'll talk about that. But Bill Pete actually refused to make the changes and left Disney. So Disney assigned Larry Clements to come on. And the first thing he said to him was, the first thing he said, have you ever read The Jungle Book? And Clements was like, no. And he's like, the first thing I want you to do is to not read it. Well, Clements did. He went and took a look at it, but he was, you know, willing to follow Walt's strong direction on this. I mean, Walt had really taken a back seat to a lot of production, but this, he just came in. It's like he knew. He really wanted to be involved. And
I'm so grateful that he was. I know whenever this, I don't think it was whenever it came out on, no, it was when it initially came out on DVD. They had a documentary on there that was the first time I realized that it was Walt's last film.
Yeah.
And that's whenever it really became cherished to me.
Right, and according to a lot of the films at the time, he wasn't super involved because he was working on the parks and he was working on the Florida project. So it's a real treat that this happened and that he got so invested in this film. But so he wanted it to be character driven, and it is character driven. So it's not so much about the story, it's more about developing the characters, and Bill Pete's characters are still there. So there is a piece of the work that he did as well. It's not completely discarded, and there was a lot to the characters, and Walt just wanted that to shine in this film, and it does such a great job of it. So with the casting, Wolfgang Reitherman said, The Jungle Book, we tried to incorporate the personalities of the actors that do the voices into the cartoon characters. And we came up with something totally different. When Phil Harris did the voice of Baloo, he gave it a bubble of life. We didn't coach him, it just happened. And don't you feel that? I mean, this is a movie I put on to feel happy, honestly. There's really nothing sad about it. If I read the book, I'm gonna cry. But the movie, you walk away, you feel happier. They changed the ending, that, you know, the ending was totally different, and the animators came up with the you know, why is he going to stay in the man village? Because he falls in love with this adorable little girl.
Indeed.
And so that was the
You know, but I think, speaking to this concept art, speaking to the original vision that changed, and we had a similar thing happen with Emperor's New Groove, where a film was completely changed, you know? And interestingly enough, both kind of in the jungle. But, you know, speaking to that artwork, I think if you look at it, it did sort of inform, or could have informed and influenced, the modern live adaptation. I think some of that imagery translates in what we get in that. So
okay.
I think it wasn't wasted work.
The live
action, that, you know, when they look into the archives and they plan the live action, I think looking back at some of that artwork, it informed the mood and the approach of the live action.
I'm not 100% sure, but I do think that that's true, that they looked at that.
Yeah.
That the stuff that Bill Pete had put together. But anyway, moving on, you know, the animation for the characters, usually the animators would be assigned to like a character, but this time they were moving forward in the feature films, and they were in charge of whole sequences. So that really was changing how work was being done at, you know, with Disney productions at the time. So I don't know, I think it probably made it more meshed together, you know, if you think of it that way. And it was musically, obviously the music we love. And Walt, of course, talked with the Sherman brothers. He actually had them come to storyboard meetings. He wanted them there and seeing what they were animating and they're doing, so it was just really, really cohesive. He asked them as well if they read the book. They hadn't, and so he's like,
that was great.
You don't need to. He said, Disney said the nice, mysterious, heavy stuff from both works was not what he aimed for. Instead, he was going for a lightness and a Disney touch. I love that last part, lightness and a Disney touch, because films really do start to, after this, I feel like Beauty and the Beast has its Disney touch. You know, The Little Mermaid has its Disney touch. They didn't go off of Hans Christian Andersen's like concept of Little Mermaid. That was really dark ending. You know, it has
the
a beautiful
Disney touch.
Yes.
Is the bare necessity.
And so, just lastly, he asked the Sherman brothers when they were doing the music. He said, "Find scary places and write fun songs."
Okay.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I just love the way he thinks, and I just wish we had more of, you know, him. This film did phenomenally well. It was one of the highest grossing animated films, you know, at that time. Actually, in Germany, this film is the highest ranking film, third to Avatar and that boat movie, Titanic.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
2 James Cameron titles. They love their Cameron there. Wow.
But Jungle Book is huge there. They love it.
Oh, great.
And on the re-release, Jungle Book actually did better than Snow White even. It's just, people love it. And I think it speaks to everybody. Yeah. It's an everybody movie. It's so fun. And I hope like just that we can all walk away saying this was a Walt Disney production. Like this had Walt's concepts, ideas, feelings all over it. And so I'm going to always remember that when I watch this film and think of him. And
thank you, Mr. Disney.
Yeah, thank you. So go watch Jungle Book. Tell us what you guys think about this film, because we really love it. But I want to hear what you guys think for sure in the comments. So moving right along, but we're not talking about the Muppets. I just like to say that. Okay, so October 18th, in 1913, Evelyn Venable was born. She's the original model for the Columbia Pictures logo.
Okay, with the torch.
And she is the voice of the Blue Fairy in Disney's Pinocchio. She's born in Cincinnati, Ohio. So I just think that's really cool.
A Buckeye, an Ohio girl.
Yes.
There you go.
Except 1913. That was way, 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 way.
That's still Ohio. It was still round on both ends and high in the middle.
Also on October 18th, 1946. Okay, this is really interesting, and you guys should go watch it. And anyway, it's Disney's animated educational film, The Story of Menstruation, is delivered to the International Cellu Cotton Company. It's going to be really popular in schools and used for schoolgirls for several years. I read the comments on this when I watched it on YouTube, and there was quite a few ladies who were like, I remember watching this when I was a young girl.
Yeah.
It's well done. I say you could use it for your own young girl if you wanted to. It's totally relevant. They did a really good job with this.
Yeah, and so important because, I mean, if you don't have support of a mother who's open or speaking at home, that can be quite a horror of a situation. I mean, I think of generations who didn't have the opportunity to know what's going on.
Yes, and
experiencing
those were in the comments too. But this is a really good film for that, and I think we've hopefully gotten past that more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought this was good that it goes into the emotions as well and just kind of covers everything, but it doesn't delve too deep. So, a parent or teacher could, answer questions if they needed to.
Well, it was time appropriate, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it's just fully appropriate and really well done. I think the animation just makes it, it's just, you have to watch it and tell me what you think. If you haven't seen it, maybe you saw it in school. I wonder if your mom did, because
I'm certain
she had brought up another educational film before that she saw in school. So, man, we need to get the Disney stuff in school.
We may have. I mean, they would put the girls in one room and the boys in another for these films. I don't know what wonders they saw behind that door.
Well, we don't know what wonders you saw behind your own door.
We don't talk about it, boys, do we?
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. So you guys can check that out. Then October 20th, moving on to a 1924 Disney's Alice comedy, Alice Gets in Dutch, starring Virginia Davis. And
Tell them.
Oh, it's really cool.
You can make it anywhere.
Yeah. So this is shown at Piccadilly Theater on Broadway in New York City.
That's right.
It's the first time an Alice comedy is shown on Broadway. So go check out this one too. It's really fun. She gets in trouble at school and has to wear the dunce cap and sit in the corner. And if you don't know what a dunce cap is, I guess Google it.
Yeah. It's an award.
Or just go watch this cartoon. So no, it's not.
What?
So she's in the corner and she falls asleep, and that's when she gets to be with the animated characters and has this dream. So you have to watch it. It's really fun. I love Alice comedies. I love that they put this live action little girl with animated cartoons. I think it's time to try it again. It might be fun.
Well, it's certainly on the money as far as what we're producing. So
I think it would be a lot of fun.
I think an Alice reboot could be really cool.
Yeah, don't you think? Yeah,
wow.
Really, really fun. So, they were really well done, and some of them weren't. You can't watch. They're gone. So they could especially do those
all the
too.
more reason.
Yeah, if they wanted to copy.
Yeah.
Exactly, but we'll see. Then still October 20th in 1983. I always find this really strange when things that aren't of the holiday season or whatever are released anyway. Disney's Mickey's Christmas Carol is released.
There you go.
So
that makes sense. Was it released to television at that time? I think it probably aired to television a little bit later. But
So anyway,
I remember watching it on its premiere at one of my friend's houses. We got together and did that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's a memory for me with
I love that.
Frank.
That's so cool. Yeah. Frank. Okay, and then 1997 Disney Channel debuts Bear in the Big Blue House. We like this one.
Yeah, it was good. You know, our kids, our oldest are 25, 24. I don't remember where they quite fell in it, but we had a huge TV.
Yeah.
We had a big TV.
Bear.
And that bear...
It was big this way and this way.
Yeah, but the bear would be like, let me smell you, let me smell you. And I get that, that's what bears do, and it was sweet and it was innocent, but it was just so weird to have a bear come up to our TV and our kids go up and sniffing them, but it was cute.
It was fun. I liked it. I thought this was really, really good. I enjoyed having it on. It was by the Jim Henson Company. you know, there was people who weren't supportive of the way that the bear was sniffing.
Was that really an issue?
Yeah, some people thought that, but
okay. The
I don't
tone
know.
of it was perfect.
Really innocent at the time.
Yeah, the tone of it was perfect.
Was it Gullah Gullah Island around the same time?
Yeah, but that's Nickelodeon.
Oh, sorry. But I just remember watching the show, and it was just fun. It was really fun and calming. It just felt like really calming.
And the little mouse is good.
Yeah,
it's all good. It's a great show. I mean, yeah, it's a very successful Henson property.
Yeah, for sure. So October 24th, going back to 1892, just a little bit ago, in Chicago, the dedication ceremony for the World's Columbian Expedition, which was really known as the Chicago World's Fair. Yeah.
And?
Well,
yes.
No, I paused because, you know, like we lived in Chicago most
and
of our
there's so many stories
there.
around that.
Well, and it's the Museum of Science and Industry now,
built for
so
it. We used to go to all the time.
Yeah, so we just feel really connected to this particular World's Fair. But anyway, Walt Disney's father, Elias, was currently working as a carpenter in 1893 for the Columbian Exposition. It's not actually going to open till May 1st of 1893.
I love this, though.
The fair will be famous, though, for two things: the premiere of the first Ferris wheel and Cracker Jacks.
Yeah. I just love this because it means he was working there. It means he was coming home. It means he was talking about it. It means he was planting seeds and dreams that, like, this was viable business, that amusement and entertainment was viable business. I mean, families plant those kind of seeds in each other around the dinner table. And I just love that he was doing this.
Well, it's hard to imagine, like, maybe just the fact that he was working there had an influence on Walt, too. But, you know, I think it's amazing that, you know, of course, Walt's born in, you know, after this particular fair, but other family members, they all lived through it, and I'm sure they went to it and talked about it. It was huge. I mean,
family stories like stay. It's not just about when they're happening.
That's true.
It's like your dad did this, your dad did that. I mean, you know, oh, I should have stayed and done more of that. Oh, if I'd stayed there, Bill made so much doing that. And I mean, the legends just happen, and you can just imagine that they got in the head. Amusement was viable.
I think his parents were really talented people. His mom designed like the designs for their house, and his father actually was a carpenter. He built their house and so forth. They had a lot of talent, and anyway, this was just a really cool time. And of course, we know the 1964 World's Fair, you know, four exhibits that, or whatever you want to call it, were you know, done by Walt Disney. So, I mean, full circle. That's just incredible. Just incredible. So, then in October 23rd, 1982, so, like, what are we, almost 100 years later?
Almost perfectly. A full century forward.
At Disney World's new Epcot Center, the first World Showcase evening show, Carnival de Lumiere, debuts.
The first. And we just did the most recent.
Right.
Which is really awesome. I'm really, really very pleased with it. It's amazing. I've watched it on replay too. And what I love about it is the after show too. They keep the music going and keep the vibe going for the whole World Showcase. I mean, it's a carnival every night. It's nice.
That's really fun. So this concept of barges, they did the barges back with this original show that was showing, you know, stuff on the barges, and then there was another barge that was doing fireworks. This show, you could only see it between Mexico and Canada. So totally different than today. But there are some concepts that I think are very similar to what's still, like, they've kind of done this whole you know, technology or images on screens.
And on the water.
These were like, I believe they were Apple screens that they used. Yeah.
Okay.
So, it was between the the barges were fountain firework barges controlled by Apple computers.
Okay.
And the show could be viewed, like I said, Mexico and Canada, so not a huge...
What year was this? 1982?
Yeah.
Okay, so Steve Jobs wasn't working with Disney yet, so very interesting.
It only lasted a few months.
Yeah.
It was not very long, so tell us in the comments if you saw this one, because it only lasted for a very short time.
Very nice.
But yeah, very interesting, being that we just got a new show. So
a great show.
Still, barges and lights and fireworks.
Yeah.
All
you watch
together.
them zipping around in those boats like high speed. You know they're the real heroes of the night. Like, and there are crews of them. I saw at least 8 to 10 boats like taking people out to lunch.
Yeah, I'm
Amazing.
sure there's a lot of work they're putting into that one. So then lastly, October 24th, 1994, the animated series Gargoyles, produced by Walt Disney Television, airs in syndication for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It's
really
in the
awesome.
afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we watched it on
it.
Disney Channel early in our marriage at nights, like on every night when it was syndicated on Disney Channel.
Night.
But it's a great show.
One of our nighttime shows.
Yeah, it's definitely Disney's answer to Batman the Animated Series and its success.
Yeah.
But they go deep. They go mystic. They go occult. They go into everything. Fables, Celtic like legend, everything. They write a rich. Oh yeah, it's kind of informed by X-Files too, and the success of X-Files at the time.
I don't know.
Certainly.
I have to delve into this one a little more.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's informed by that kind
really
of conspiracy theory that was so popular in culture at the time.
Yeah, it was a cool show. And just the idea of the gargoyles, I mean, that's like a mythical, old idea. So it's still like kind of in form with, Disney, because they're taking the classic tales and bringing them to life. So even the show is taking classic tales that people used to tell and bringing it into animation and life. So I think it's a great show. It's really fun. We really enjoyed it. It's awesome. Yeah. But good time to watch it, Halloween time, so put on Gargoyles.
Trust me.
It's on Disney Plus right now, so.
Yeah, you can always go.
But that's it for this week in Disney. Pretty fun week.
It is a good
week. And a memorable week. So think about Walt Disney this week too. And go watch Jungle Book. But that's it, and we will see you guys next time.